All right, guys, we can get rocking. I thought heading into this game, really thought this was, going to be a hard-fought game. And it was just like we expected. Bobby Wagner had spoken to the team earlier today about moments and opportunities, and I thought he was absolutely spot on because there were moments and there were opportunities. And so this one stings badly. The team is absolutely so all in for one another, and I love that about them, how tough we are. And so it should sting. And these are the ones that, you got to look back, you got to learn, and I also said we got to turn quickly. So with all that said, glad to get rocking with you guys.
Does your message after the game change at all, considering the quick turnaround, how long you want your guys to feel that sting versus getting ready for Philly?
I did. I said this is a 24-hour rule, and so we got 24 hours. By the time we get in for tomorrow afternoon, we've got to clear it, and we've got to go. And so we hadn't talked a lot about, next week in the previous week, so they know what's ahead, and we'll be prepared for that.
And then on the 3rd and 9 where St. Juice gets beat for the touchdown, what's the call and the coaching point there, given the situation, and also how much the frequency with which Pittsburgh throws those 50-50 balls deep?
Yeah, it's one of Russ's great parts of what he can do. Is, really good throw and catch, and if you have to battle and compete to go, like that's ball, and we can live with that. So just another example of fighting. I thought he threw good pass and good catch. We got to turn back into it, but nothing that was unusual about the call or any of that.
Obviously, Pittsburgh has a really good defense, but what were they doing successfully to kind of maybe take the passing game out of the rhythm a little bit?
I thought, honestly, John, in the run game, they also had some really good run-throughs. I thought, linebackers were aggressive in tackling and caused some of the negative plays to put us into some longer, downs for 3rd down. So I thought that was one thing. As far as, disguises and zones and that to go, they're driven so much by their rush, so they had some pressures, which maybe they had added a few more. And when they added some players back into the mix, I certainly felt their energy and, defensive style come to life.
You've been high on a lot of things with this team all along, but did you learn anything today, even in a game like this, the way it went?
I said I love what they stand for one another. And I don't know if I learned that, John, but it was confirmed again. And so I was hurting for them. The locker room's hurting. But there's also these lessons that we have to apply to know that we do have to learn from them and go on. And this just happens to be that lesson comes back quickly as we get into our next game.
For Johnny Newton, I mean, obviously the wasn't the sole mistake in the game, but coming off that one at the end of the game, what is sort of your message to him just to keep his confidence up and go, especially going into a short week?
Yes. That's a scenario on that one where we call it, do they even have a play up, to work the cadence? But, man, we have so much belief and love for this guy. And so it was a hard mistake. It was one to learn from. And as it goes, those are hard ones. Like you said, there's other plays in the game that come up. That one just, happened to showcase it more at the end. And, for sure, this is the type of player that is hurting from it and going to learn from it.
And the defense as a whole, they had some really huge plays, but also some costly mistakes. What is the key to just finding some consistency there, you think?
Well, I love that we were able to get the ball. We thought that was going to be one of the real margins in this game. So the interception by Jeremy and then the fumble recovery with the forced fumble by Quan, I thought those were, kind of the plays within the game that we thought, would be game-changing ones. Let's give credit to Pittsburgh, too, offensively. They've got, some real weapons in their space, too. So we knew it was going to be a really hard fight. But I thought defensively, especially early on 3rd downs, made some good stops. So I was very pleased with that.
Injuries are always part of the situation, but you guys had a few coming in, then some more in the game. I guess how did that affect you guys? And then what was the situation with Andrew before the game?
With Andrew, you said? Sure.
Yeah.
We got a big crew that we roll deep, and it gets difficult when you have to manage some of those scenarios. And so for Andrew, his shoulder just wasn't quite up to, being where it needs to be to have the confidence to go play at the level we can. So I think you've seen that example from Adam and I and the team that, we're going to make the best decisions for the player first. And that was the case to here. And so we'll see what that looks like this week, Ben, for him. It does give opportunities and moments for others, with Cornelius being down as well, kind of moves into Trent into that spot. So we'll see what it looks like for this week, and same thing with Brian.
And you guys have had played well, but a lot of breaks going your way. You only had 3 turnovers coming into this. It kind of felt like this game maybe, luck or not, breaks just kind of went the other way. Did it kind of feel like a little bit different compared to some of the other games?
I don't know, man. we were having a lot of fun early on, big plays to go and, big hits. I thought Percy Butler, covering the kick to push it all the way down there. Those are like real energy moments. This was going to be a battle at special teams. You guys knew that. I talked about that during the week. Field position, the ball, the tackling, those were all going to be at hand. So I love the energy that the guys bring. They're tough, and we're going to continue to grow. And I think we got a lot more under the hood.
Dan, were any of the injured decisions that you made based on the short week and the division game and the magnitude of it on Thursday?
It was not. Nope, it was all relative to this game. And so everything was just for this one.
And then there was a play, I think they were at their own 43 with like 10 minutes to go. Looked like when Harris got hurt before the 4th and 1, he may have fumbled on top of the pile. You were talking to the refs during the stoppage.
Yep.
Did you look at challenging that? Or
We
what
did, yep, and there just wasn't a clear enough one to go. Was he down by contact, blowed? And so that's where it came down to, and I'd asked them that. So we ended up not challenging. There just wasn't a clear enough one to go, and that's really where we have to go by. If it's clear, it's worth it. But if it's not, then we're going to need those timeouts. And so when it's clear, we'll absolutely go take our shot.
Coach, I know it's just 1 point, but do you think, and you said you have to continue to learn from this, do you think this was any kind of fair measure of where your team is and where they want to be?
I would hope that the missed opportunities are the lesson to apply, because I thought, it was just maybe a little uncharacteristic. I thought maybe a few drops, maybe a few plays that weren't quite like us. I love that we were in this kind of fight. These are the kind of ones that you need to build some resilience and some resolve. But we are establishing that kind of toughness and identity that we want to be about. But as far as measurement, I knew this was going to be a tough game. Knew they were coming off their bye. We were coming into it. They played well. They've had some changes with Russ at QB, and so they've really been effective running the ball, over the last 3 weeks. So that was one that we knew we had to stand up and make some plays. So it played out probably like I thought in terms of how they would go attack, but the missed opportunities on this one stings the most.
Take 3 more.
The 2 games that B-Rob's missed lately, obviously against very good NFC North defenses, Ravens and Steelers here, are you surprised by the drop-off in run production just because your starting running back wasn't there? Or are you hoping for more?
Yeah, these guys had played run game well, and so I knew that it was going to be some tough sledding on some downs, and you still have to stick to those for the play pass to come around. So once we got into, I thought it took all the way into the second quarter, that 17-play drive to get it and then get the ball again to go in. I felt like that's where we could shift it, and that's where we could go. But we'll dig in, take a hard look at it. He's certainly a factor, the size, what he can bring downhill. So we're hoping, that turn has been made, heading into this week. But I'll have a better sense for as we get closer to the game.
Coach, Olamide Zaccheaus muffed a couple punts early on. What did you tell him after those, and what went into the decision to keep him out there on subsequent returns?
Well, I thought first one, hey, clear the mechanism, to make sure that play's done. What did you do from it? Got too high on me, so got into his pads. He works really hard at this, at the punt returning side of things, and so we all have a lot of confidence in him. But that's what I told him.
Got time for one more? We're good.
What did you make of just the overall chippiness in the game? Do you like that?
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I thought it was going to be hard. I mean, I know Mike well, and this is a tough team, and I knew it was going to be a really hard fight, man. So I love him. I love what what he's about. So I knew it was going to be tough. We got a tough crew too, and so I wanted to make sure that we established who we are too, and to say we had to prepare for them, but they also had to make sure when we got to the game, like they also had to deal with us, and make sure we play physical and go after it and tackle. So we got lots of work to do, Nikki, but from an effort and mindset standpoint, we're gaining on that. And we're not where we're going to be, but we are gaining on that.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right,
Appreciate it.
you got it.
Jay, podium, everyone else.